Kamaru Usman, in my opinion, is going to win. I'm giving him 60-40. Actually, you know what? Make it 65-35. I'm very confident for Kamaru Usman. I just rewatched their fights, all of them together, and especially after watching Leon Edwards versus RDA. And Leon Edwards did a fantastic fight and a fantastic strategy against RDA. However, my whole thing, when I watched the entire both fighters fight, I believe that Leon Edwards, and I rewatched their first fight, of course. I believe that Leon Edwards is backing up to the fence way too much. And if he backs up to the fence on fight night, which I think he will, after seeing RDA being able to back up Leon Edwards, and I'm a huge fan, guys. I want to say I'm a huge fan of Leon Edwards. Okay, he's a phenomenal fighter. He's on a 7-fight win streak, 6 or 7 fight win streak, actually. Let me check that out real quick here. Let's see how many wins he has so far. He's a phenomenal contender. Okay, phenomenal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 wins since he lost to Kamaru Usman. 9 wins in UFC. 9 wins. He lost to Kamaru Usman in 2015, guys. That was 7 years ago. Still, I think Kamaru's going to win. Why? I think Leon Edwards and Kamaru's fight, in the first fight with Kamaru, he backed up to the fence, cost him the fight. I watched this fight with RDA. It wasn't too long ago. I watched this fight with Nate Diaz. And I felt, we all saw the 5th round. Those of you who didn't see that fight, it was a great fight. Leon Edwards controlling the fight from A to Z, except for the 5th round. The 5th round, Nate Diaz comes alive, puts the pain on Leon Edwards with a amazing 1-2, like a slap hook, one into a cross, catches Leon on the chin, and Leon's backpedaling, and the fight just ended with Leon fighting hard to stay alive. Even though he had a almost flawless fight till then. Diaz was busted up. He was looking amazing. However, he was in the pressure cooker with Diaz. And 25 minutes with Diaz, what Diaz did in 25 minutes, Kamaru's going to do in round 1 and 2. So all that pressure that Diaz put, and Leon started to break in the 5th round, that's going to happen in round 2, round 3 of their fight. Because Usman puts on so much more pressure than Diaz. Okay, when Leon was fighting Diaz, he was kicking his leg, he was jabbing, he was enjoying a speed advantage. He had a speed advantage against Diaz. I don't think he's going to have the speed advantage against Kamaru. I don't think he's going to have the reach advantage. Not that he had the reach advantage with Nate, but he's not going to have the speed or the reach advantage. So what's he going to do? I think he's going to back up, and backing up, he's going to get put under the pressure cooker. Usman hits really hard, and he wrestles really well. In my opinion, that's going to be the fatal flaw. Now, can Leon Edwards win? Of course he does. Of course he can win. Of course, he's a phenomenal fighter. He's on a 9-fight win streak in UFC since their last matchup. I could be totally wrong, of course. How could Leon Edwards win? Well, number one, he has phenomenal striking, especially his elbows. He has very dangerous elbows. That's impressive. His submission game, I'm looking at his, I can't remember him doing a sub in UFC. I'm gonna look real quick. Decision. Rear naked choke versus Albert Tumunov. Decision. He's big into decisions, guys. Here we have UFC punch, first round 8 seconds versus Seth Brzezinski. That's actually a really good fighter. Split decision loss against Claudio Silva. Look, he has very little finishes in recent history. Okay, his last 9 fights, I think they're all decisions. Let me look that up again. Decision. Look, they're all decisions except the one rear naked choke against Albert Tumunov. He's unlikely to KO Usman. Usman's never been KO'd, and he's fighting a guy who doesn't really KO people. Can he win a decision against Usman? Unlikely. Very unlikely. Can he sub Usman? Unlikely. His jiu-jitsu is good, but he's not a sub wizard. So in my opinion, guys, I really feel that Usman's going to put the pressure cooker on him. He's going to hurt him with strikes. There's going to be back and forth with the strikes, but then once Leon backs up to the fence, this is what I think is the fatal flaw of the fight. once Leon Edwards backs up to the fence, he's going to get hit more often and he's going to get taken down. And we've all seen Kamaru's pressure on the fence. It's phenomenal. We've also seen Usman evolve. They've both gotten better, but Usman especially. Usman recently fought Kobe Covington. And of course, we all saw that fight. The second fight was a decision. Just double check here. That was in 2021, November of 2021. Okay, so he's fresh off a win. When you're a champion, you should be fighting once or twice a year, not more than that. And we saw his evolution from their first fight. The first time he fought Kobe Covington, it was really, really close. It was 2-2, really tight. Most people had it 2-2. Most people, not everybody. And then he ended up finishing Kobe Covington in the 5th. And if we were all Kobe Covington fans, we could argue that it was a premature stoppage. If we were, I don't think it was, but if we really wanted to argue, it's a little bit arguable, but still, it was still a 10-8 round easy for Usman. He wins regardless. In their rematch, Usman showed so much evolution. His jab, his boxing, his kicks, his wrestling. Okay, he did get taken down in the... I know that UFC did not count it as a takedown, but Kobe Covington did successfully take down Usman. But also, Kobe Covington got stuffed many times. Kamaru showed incredible defensive wrestling, which we're not surprised. Nobody out there is surprised. That's just to say that Leon Edwards doesn't have a lot of good options to take him down. Leon Edwards has to strike, is what I'm trying to say. Now, unlikely to knock out Kamaru, very unlikely to take him down, and of course, very unlikely to submit him. How can he win? Decision? Unlikely, guys. Those are my thoughts. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to keep it simple. Those are my thoughts. Kamaru has evolved. Leon Edwards evolved, but Kamaru has evolved even more. Okay, guys, let's see here. All right, here we go. Guys, just a quick note. Tristar Digital is now live. If you guys want Tristar Digital, go to jujiclub.com. You'll find it there. Tristar Digital is up there. And of course, jujiclub.com. If you guys want to get 25% off, type in Kamaru25. The link, it's in the description. Check it out because my pick is Kamaru. So I'm giving you guys 25% off on anything on Jiu-Jitsu Club. Okay, with that said, guys, let me hear what you have to say. Coach Zahabi, I love you. That's from E-Dog. E-Dog, thank you, my dear friend. Right back at you. But give me some comments and questions on this fight. And then, of course, we'll move on to talking about maybe Gordon Ryan and Pena. It should have been a draw considering Usman should have gotten a 10-8 in the second round. I don't know what you mean by it should have been a draw. I'm not sure which fight you're referring to. Okay, I see you guys are talking about the first fight with Kobe Covington. Look, it could be, you could argue either way, guys. But at the end of the day, if you watch the fight as a whole, Usman was the better fighter. He beat Kobe Covington both times. I know that you can argue with the judging, but at the end of the day, they had a rematch, and nobody's arguing after the rematch whether Kobe won. Everybody knows Usman won. He's the better fighter. Leon is very fast. That will be a key factor in the stand-up. That's from MS. MS says Leon is very fast. You're right, he's very fast, but so is Kobe Covington. Kobe Covington is very fast. He throws a lot of flurries. He landed his best shots against Usman, and he's also kind of a decision guy, very similar to Leon Edwards. And what happened? Kamaru marched him down, weathered the storm, and fired back some powerful strikes. Don't forget, he knocked down... I rewatched it, but I didn't count how many times. He knocked down Kobe Covington 3 times, 2 or 3 times at least. You know, he hurt Kobe bad. His power is shining. You know, he has a lot more power than Kobe or Edwards. So speed is a factor, yes, but I don't think he's gonna have much. I don't think he's gonna have that much of a speed advantage. And I think Kamaru has the reach advantage, so it's gonna kind of nullify itself out. Kobe won the last 3 rounds of the last fight with Usman. That's from ABDQ. ABDQ, I think you're probably the world's biggest Kobe Covington fan, because that's really not the case. You know, Kobe lost that fight hands down. Zahabi, will Kamaru evolve to a new style to be detriment, giving his wrestling less now? That's from Cameron Newman. Cameron is asking, has his new style made it a detriment to him? No, I don't think so. I think his striking has evolved, and it's a good thing because it's going to make the takedowns easier, and he doesn't necessarily need the takedowns all the time. So he's less predictable because now he's relying much more on his striking. Now, don't forget, when he fought Kobe Covington, he needed to wrestle. Excuse me. He needed to box. Why? Because Kobe's going to be really hard to take down, okay? Now, when he fought Gilbert Burns, he probably didn't want to take Gilbert Burns down too much because if he doesn't hurt Gilbert and gets on top of him, Gilbert could be very tricky on the ground. Obviously, he's a very, very seasoned jiu-jitsu guy. Even we saw Khamzat didn't want to stay on top of Gilbert Burns. It could be tricky. You could find yourself in a lot of trouble. So what did Kamaru do? He used a lot of his striking. In this case, however, I think he's going to be more than happy to take Leon Edwards down. So look for him. I think he's going to strike a lot and also get a lot of takedowns, body locks on the fence, picking him up, throwing him down. Kind of similar to what he did to Tyrone Woodley. Tyrone's not the best fighter off his back. Okay, put him on his back. I think he's going to have that sentiment in the fight. Of course, I think he'd be happy to put Kobe on his back. However, putting Kobe on his back would have been very difficult. So I don't think he needed to try. Coach, could you talk about the co-main event after? That's from Panda Cat. Panda Cat, actually, yes, because I'm really excited about the co-main event. Luke Rockhold versus Costa. My goodness, I can't believe I'm forgetting his first name. Somebody write Costa, not Costa. What's his first name again? Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, forgive me. I don't know why I had a blank there. Paulo Costa going up against Luke Rockhold. Guys, I hate to say it, but I think Paulo Costa is going to win. Not that I have anything against the guy, but, he's been busted before. And I'm not going to talk about that right now. Sidestep that. I think Luke Rockhold is a very tough fight, and I would be happy to see Luke Rockhold win. However, I just feel that Paulo Costa is so dangerous. We've seen Luke Rockhold get knocked out a string, How many times has he been knocked out? Now, let me just double check here. I remember remembering 3 times in a row, but that might be wrong. Let me just quickly double check. Luke Rockhold has been knocked out several times in his career now. Let me look that up real quick. Luke Rockhold, former world champion, killer fighter, amazing guy, but then just went on a horrible losing streak. The guy's a phenomenal puncher, great grappler, amazing skill, reach, athleticism. The guy's got it all. He got knocked out by Nick Rodriguez. Pardon me. He lost to a grappling match, Nick Rodriguez. Sorry, that's topology. Nick Rodriguez, one of the top grapplers. Blachowicz. We all remember the Blachowicz knockout. It was just shocking knockout. A horrible knockout. Yoel Romero, my goodness, that was a scary knockout. Luke Rockhold backs up to the fence, gets crushed by an overhand left. Devastating. Beat David Branch before that, and then also got knocked out by Michael Bisping. So in the last 4 fights, he's been knocked out 3 times. Okay, so it was 3 times, 3 KOs, not 3 KOs in a row. He did have a very big win against David Branch. Okay, so Paulo Costa, guys, for those of you who are not familiar with him, for those of you guys who are not huge MMA fans, you're just jiu-jitsu fans kind of tuning in, he's got devastating power, devastating KO power. He had a fight with Yoel Romero, which was very, very close, controversial, whether he won or lost, very controversial. They gave him the win. Paulo Costa got the win officially. However, the fight was very, very close. Even me, I can't decide who won. I would have been happy with a draw. Very close fight. I know MMA math doesn't work. Just because Paulo Costa beat in a very, very close fight that could have gone either way. Just because he beat Yoel Romero in that type of fight and Yoel Romero knocked out Luke Rockhold doesn't mean Luke Rockhold's going to lose against Paulo Costa. Okay, MMA math doesn't work. We could find many examples where MMA math doesn't work. However, what I'm saying is when you have a power puncher, it just seems like Luke Rockhold has not done well against power punchers. And I believe it has a lot to do with his lean. He has a type of lean. When he leans, he's exposed to overhand rights and overhand lefts. Both. He leaned against Bisping. He leaned against Yoel Romero. Blachowicz, I don't remember him leaning that much. I'd have to look it up again. Actually, let me look at that. Blachowicz knockout, excuse me. I remember doing a... I remember doing a breakdown for Yoel Romero Rockhold, and I was I remember saying in the podcast, I remember saying in the pre-fight analysis that Luke Rockhold has a really bad habit that he does that I think his coaches are going to fix way before the fight. So I thought I was very confident he won't get knocked out because they're going to fix it. They spotted it. Lo and behold, he did the same mistake with Yoel Romero. He got knocked out again. The same thing. The thing I said I don't want to mention because I think it's not going to be a nice thing to say. It's not a proper thing to mention. He did the same exact mistake. And he got clipped again. He got knocked out again. It's when he leans back. He leans back, exposes himself. There's ways to lean back, guys. Yes. Watch. Who's a good leaner? Bobby Green is a great leaner in UFC. He leans. He rolls his chin under the shoulder. If you roll back and your chin is exposed, and you lean back, because tall fighters like to lean back, of course, because they're taller. They need to hit you from a distance. So they need to create that space all the time. Every time the shorter guy tries to walk forward, I have to lean back, create that space so I can hit you at the end of the stick, right? I don't want to smother my shot. Now, I'm watching the Yoel Romero Luke Rockhold knockout, and he did the same mistake. There are ways to lean. You can't just lean. You have to lean in a specific way. It's hard to explain. I have to demonstrate it, but I just watched the knockout now. It's exactly what I remember.